Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
It is a special night tonight in Lancaster, California. The birth of a club really begins when the fans get to experience it themselves. The supporters have arrived en masse. AV Alta of USL League One opens its magnificent venue. It used to be called The Hangar. Tonight, we can call it host to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Welcome to this first-round matchup. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez-Espin. Ricky, day one is such a special day for any club in front of your home support. They may have lost on the road back on March 15th, their first ever match over the weekend. They can turn it all around tonight.
You want to build this place a fortress. You want to make a culture, and no better way to make a culture than go out and get your first signing, who is an experienced player. A player that had so much success at every single stop of his career, whether it was at the bottom, made all the way up to the men's U.S. national team. Miguel Ibarra, what a fantastic player that he's going to be for AV Alta. He won't start tonight, but make no mistake about it. When he comes on the field, he's going to lead by leadership. He's going to lead by example. Miguel Ibarra is going to be massive for AV Alta this season.
The last 3 years at Charlotte Independence. Meanwhile, look, Ventura County, they're here to make a statement of their own. And talking with Keith Costigan, they are a group that is confident in bringing what they had last year going back and allowing that to be their statement.
You need to be organized, you need to be structural, you need to be disciplined for this Ventura County Fusion side. I do think how quickly can they get up the tempo. First 10 to 15 minutes going to be key.
Under the lights in Lancaster. These final fleeting moments for fans who've waited for professional soccer to arrive in the Antelope Valley, and it has finally arrived. This has been years in the making. The club awarded by the USL back in September of 2023. Kickoff in the Antelope Valley. It is AV Alta, their first ever Open Cup match, taking on Ventura County Fusion of USL League 2. Ricky, you've been through this before. You were in Lansing in USL League One when they first came into that league. To be fair, also when they went out. To be a part of something like this, we mentioned Ibarra specifically, but I feel there has to be a tremendous amount of pride from these players on the field here tonight.
It's not very often in the professional sport that you can create history, you can be the first to do something. So for this AV Alta side, first time at home, make this place a fortress and try to build that culture. Watch out here.
Dejun making the run. Angles inside, curls for goal, knocked away by Drux. Well, that would have been quite the statement, less than a minute in. Some players just have that flair for the dramatic, and certainly Jerry does.
Just so direct, so intentional, the way that he sets up his individual marker. And notice at the last second, he closes up his hips to give it that bending feature on the ball. Good save from Drux at the end of it.
Got the ball kids well figured out. We've been to enough venues where that ball lands in the street.
Yeah, 100%.
Ball ball swept back. Clebon's been around this Southern California soccer ecosystem for quite some time. The Alta head coach named on May the 16th last year was at TFA, which ultimately became part of Barcelona's faraway academy, into Chivas USA, into the Galaxy, briefly with LAFC. Chance to apply what are pretty lofty and ambitious stylistic goals. Ones that have certainly been marked by his own Argentine heritage from his experience around the Barcelona organization and years of internships going over to the mothership. Gets a chance to do it now on his own terms.
And the ability to speak with him and pick out his brain. Says, look, we want to dictate tempo, we want to show our culture, and we want to be ball dominant. 4 minutes in, you're ready to see how comfortable this AV Alta side is on the ball. They want to progressively break lines, play on the front foot. So far, so good here at home.
And to be fair to them, not the easiest draw the first week. If you talk to Keith Costigan, the head coach, and of course excellent commentator for MLS Season Pass for Ventura County, he'll say we would have rather had 6 weeks to train together, regardless of the travel that AV Alta may be facing. But they had to go all the way to South Georgia, Tormenta, which means flying with a connection in Charlotte to Savannah, come back to California, and then this weekend go all the way to Richmond, Virginia. That is maybe the toughest opening draw that League One can offer.
Look at the positive side, Mike, freaking fly miles.
Okay. Did I mention they're flying on Spirit? No, I'm kidding. Outside of stadiums not being ready, right? Hartford in the championship in 2019, it was 8 on the road, all against teams that would go on to make the playoffs that year. Okay. It's not necessarily the longest road swing because they do have 5 home games coming up immediately following that Richmond game. But this first week is going to test AV Alta far more than perhaps anyone could have anticipated. You and I have heard the 2 approaches that every amateur coach is being tasked to contemplate. You can go out and try and build a super team of retired or out of contract professionals, or the guys just out of college that are allowed to play in this event without any issue with eligibility during the spring semester. Or you can rely on the guys who got you here. Ventura County deciding to put a spotlight on the players in their own system. That's a free kick to AV Alta.
One takeaway from our phone call with Keith Costigan. It's all about the development of this Ventura County, from the academy to the first team, to pushing players and giving them the opportunity and a platform to take that next step in their career. And what an opportunity this is to play against a USL League One side and their home opener and spoil the party. Fantastic experience and fantastic chance for this Ventura County side.
Sehat turned around by Blancas. Of course, a new team means an amalgamation of parts being put together for the first time, this Alta group. Here's Cruz. Ball tapped away from the former Cal State Fullerton player. Landed at Sporting KC2. Last year was their team MVP. A side that did miss the postseason, but he managed 11 total goal contributions in MLS Next Pro. Gonzalez. Dejeun. That should be a standard. Standing, supporting end. This ball curled at frame. That's easy work. Blancas hits it right at Dorian Drux. 20-year-old German goalkeeper applies his collegiate trade at Cal State Northridge. CSUN. As opposed to having a difficult conversation with your father, which is C, comma, son. This gets out over the line. You can see the flags whipping here. This has been a major conversation around League One. In every venue being different, the wind here in Lancaster is known for, at times, being fairly extraordinary. From the sounds of it, Alta didn't exactly have a pleasant weather experience in Lexington over the weekend. But this should be a pretty constant whipping flag throughout games here at the hangar. Comes all the way down to Drux. I imagine you'd rather play in pouring rain than
100%.
30-mile-an-hour winds.
100%. It's so unpredictable when you play in. That's a hard challenge there.
Alasani.
Really rash from Alasani the way that he comes in. No need to leave your feet. It's late. I'll tell you what. Really surprised he does not see a card here.
Very.
Yeah, coming to the backside of a player. The ball's gone. It's late. It's rash. Fortunate for Alasani not to pick up yellow.
Puts this up. Ball drops on the backside, and that's an awkward stumble from Sadiq Lazar. And the counter is on here for Alta.
And really impressed with Ventura County, how comfortable they are on the ball. Team that didn't have too much of a training session, or only one session to be fair, before this match. Seemed to be disciplined. That was something that Keith Costigan was mentioning to us on our phone call, saying, look, we're not talking about tactical awareness, walkthroughs, not trying to overload with information for these players. Minutes in, they seem quite organized.
Yeah, you asked, so what do you do with one training session? And I think back to last year where it was a similar case where guys were showing up the night before the game, some the day of the game for Des Moines Menace. But those are 40-year-olds. This ball driven away by Aviles. And in a lot of cases, guys with hundreds and hundreds of pro appearances. That is not what this group has done together to this point. Minutes gone, this inaugural game at Lancaster Municipal Stadium. You would never know that this was a baseball park. Not too long ago, the dissolution of so many minor league baseball clubs included the famed Lancaster Jethawks, who had a lot of success under Pete Carfagna's ownership over the years. But it did open the door for soccer to come to this community. Blancas. Dejun. Robledo. Navigates wide, got a man on skates. Bit of a flustered clearance. But the whistle had already blown for the play behind. It was against Lazar.
extension of the left arm. The catch is Lazard. He's okay. Outside back that has the freedom to push up and down that left-hand side. Couldn't overload the fluidity that Keith Costigan wants his side to play with.
County largely holding their own to this point. 47 degrees tonight at kickoff. Rain staying out of the forecast. Winds consistently 10 miles an hour. Gusts certainly above that. Ball caroms out toward Alexis Ledoux, who played for Saint-Étienne in France as an academy player. Landed at the University of Charleston in West Virginia. Went to the D2 National Championship game. And 3 years playing for UCSB. He's the Big West Offensive Player of the Year with a resounding 19 goal contribution output last year. Rolling toward the line and allowed out by Aviles. His 7th year in League One. 2 years in North Texas, won the League One double there, on to South Georgia Tormenta as a backup, and then a few years at Chattanooga Red Wolves before joining the bottom-feeding Central Valley Fuego last year. Side that unfortunately has met the Open Cup graveyard. Blancas checks up for Drux.
Maybe Alta get on the ball. That's when you want Dejoun and Cruz to be as wide as they possibly can be. Because if you do that now, you afford Acuna to come into that half space, and there's a clear lane into your striker. When they occupy the same sort of areas, now that plays into the hands of Ventura County. One player can take out 2 players. When you're in possession, you want to be as wide and make the field as big as you possibly can.
Well, Sonny doesn't get a friendly whistle. Leave it to a commentator to offer such a poetic view of the Open Cup for this 4th division side. Quite an effort to continue here. Fofana said, "We're not human if we don't dream of it." A cup set against a fully professional team. So he was proud of Alta bringing soccer into a community that previously didn't have the professional game. Proud to be a part of the history of this first home game. It was pretty funny. He was describing being a part of FA Cup coverage in the past. This ball bouncing through. And Rellerford able to whittle out toward the line. Described remembering fondly the Exeter-Liverpool match that he covered for Fox back in the day. Here's Jurgen Klopp doing his pregame interview in a little kitchen while someone's making tea in the corner. And here's one of the most famed managers on the planet, tucked away, speaking to the masses. And such the view tonight for this Fusion team. Although I suppose that makes Brian Claybon Jurgen Klopp in this analogy. I think he'd appreciate that.
I think anyone would. It's a good ball there.
Gonzalez. Haro goes back. He wears the captain's armband on this occasion. Will always be the first to wear it at home here. Dejun brings it forward. Robledo provides width. Robledo curling, and again another sprawling save from Drux. That will hit off the corner flag and get out for a throw.
It's a movement of Dejun before he gets on the ball. Notice how he receives this with his hips open. So that gives him the ability to play onto Robledo. Robledo uses momentum to his favor. Little drop of the shoulder. Full extension. Great save from Drux yet again. That's 3 times he's denied Alta the opening goal.
That's what it takes sometimes, doesn't it? Played at Cal Baptist, got a handful of starts there, made the move to CSUN. 3 starts last year, 6 goals conceded on 13 shots on frame. And yet, on this night, thus far, perfection for a Ventura County side that has twice won the USL League One, formerly PDL championship as it was in '09. Make that League Two title. Won it in 2022 as well, twice the 4th division winner. Dejun, push into the back. Acuna back to his feet. Ortiz. Alasani. Playing the win, Dejun brought it in. Gonzalez. Cruz. Got away. It's also worth noting they've practiced on this field, but this is very new turf.
Really impressive with Alta, just a rotation centrally. How many times have we seen Dejun come centrally? Blancas provide with Robledo as well. Talks about the high IQ that Brian Kleban is trying to implement here with his side. Only their 2nd competitive game in their existence. You cannot tell. Very comfortable within the system. Watch out.
Ball given away. Acuna coming out. Keeper got a piece. Ball atop the 6. Acuna chasing again. Gets to the end line. Drux up to the challenge once again, although that messier than the previous. And will circulate back through Gonzalez. Day 1 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup in 2025. Robledo, oohs and ahs from the crowd, controls. Dejun pumps the brakes. Bit fortunate here. Gonzalez able to continue. Alasani. Very compact Ventura County side. Allows Robledo to get all the way to the edge of the area before being impeded. Blancas. Dejun. And this whipped into the stands, wayward by Alasani.
Notice the body position of Acuna. He comes into the inside track, and Wyndham just overcommits. Unable to read the body language of the ball. But yet again, notice how big Drux comes off of his line with his right leg to deny Acuna. 21 minutes in, goalkeeper's having a day for Ventura County.
Throw here for Ortiz, part of Peoria City, the USL League Two runner-up last year. Helped Loyola Marymount to the NCAA quarterfinal in Division I. That's their high water mark. Blancas, Dejun, 1v1. Cuts, blockaded, steered away by Rellerford. Robledo, got a couple games with FC Cincinnati and MLS, largely with their 2nd team, couple of loans as well. Blancas. Megs the ball through Engelbert, and out to quell is Drux.
really clever here from Blancas. Notice how he's pulling the ball back, trying to open up that passing lane, and continues his run, trying to get it back. That's when you need Acuna to be a little bit stronger with this hold-up play.
Oh, there. Beware flying foul balls. Whoa. I think that deserves to be seen at some point again. Look at the bottom of your screen here. Look at this fan.
Bit of vision.
Or no vision.
Yeah, zero vision.
None. Nada.
No communication through his friends, too.
Zero.
How that happened. Gotta get new friends.
I know the feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Jerry Dejeune, part of upsets against Colorado Springs and RSL with Northern Colorado. 2022 U.S. Open Cup.
And he's been impressive. How comfortable, how quick, how dynamic he's been from central locations, but also from the width.
Came to the U.S. in 2018, was part of Ventura County Fusion prior to arriving here at AV Alta. One of the guys that Keith Costigan so proudly acknowledges took the next step by way of this program. Muscling for space, Blancas sends service. It's a decent enough ball, but Joaquin Acuna sees this spray out in front, the former Osprey, that is.
That's when you need your weak-sided midfielder to join the attack as well. Notice right side of your screen, Cruz, he just stops his run. Acuna comes centrally, he pulls out both center backs with him. If Cruz continues towards that back post, it's an easy tap-in. Opportunity missed for AV Alta.
Ball sent back to Drux with Ricky Lopez Espin. League One Championship MLS player. Like Watts on this Tuesday night. This a 3-day window for the opening round of the Open Cup. 64 teams enter in the first round. We cut it to 32. They'll cut it to 16 in the second round. Then the remaining 16 second division championship teams enter. They get cut in half. Then the 16 teams from MLS will join in the round of 32, the first midweek rather, of May. June on the run.
Give your Keith Costigan 27 minutes in. Well, we haven't had as much as the ball as you would like, but defensively you've been sound. Drux seems up for it. You can make it a little bit more of a transitional game. That will play into your favor. Last thing that you want is to get this thing wide open. Too much talent on the other side for AV Alta. Slow the game down. When you can play vertical, that's when you go quickly.
Master Antonio, what a run he and Union Omaha have had in League One. The Owls taking 3 of the 4 League One trophies over the last 2 years. I'm sure you're intimately aware of Master Antonio's skill set.
Very comfortable on the ball, true leader.
Nodding the ball forward, it's Acuna. Acuna leans it back, Dejoun! The first home goal for AV Alta. The first goal in club history. And America's newest professional club celebrates their first goal in America's oldest soccer cup.
It starts with the hold-up play from Acuna. Left side of your screen, plays in between both center backs, and this is just pure will. As he fights off both center backs, notice a secondary movement from Dejoun. Changes his angle. So now he has his hips squared in face of the goal. Information on the pass, he needs to hit it first time and simply just finds a corner. Nothing Drux can do. And AV Alta have their goal within the first 30 minutes here.
28th minute, and a moment that will last a lifetime. That first goal, a player who scored for Ventura County in the 2023 Open Cup, albeit in defeat in the opening round, who scored for Northern Colorado in that incredible run, the lone goal in extra time to upset Colorado Springs. Getting toward the end line, Martino skips out. Right in front of the supporters too. What an awesome moment here in the Antelope Valley. There are certain players where their speed, explosiveness sort of draws fans in. I think he's going to be a great example of that for this AV Alta community.
He's shown he can do a little bit of everything, right? Whether it's taking players 1v1, but also how many times have we seen him spray the ball with fantastic technique from one side of the pitch to the other. Also give credit to Acuna. He's been a handful as well. Willingness to run, tenacious mentality from the striker, but also the ability to bring in his teammates. Seems to be the complete number 9 for this AV Alta side.
Seha able to get it ahead. Brought it back toward Martino. Went from little D2 Lake Erie College and the D2 College Cup. Cal State Bakersfield, 17 goals in 32 starts. Oh boy. We're wearing gloves. 21-year-old from Benin, twice a premiership winner there. Part of the under-20 AFCONs for his native country. But not tying shoes with gloves on. The bad news is it's going to get worse probably before it gets better. This is a temperate 50-some degree night. Ortiz, leading ball, whipped across the face, nobody home. They'll reload again. Pitchforked back to Gonzalez. Squared to Robledo, in now to Blancas. Drops off, feigning, Alasani, Robledo, Dejoun, the goal scorer, trying to work the give and go, sniffed out by Relaford.
talked about the movement on the front line. Notice left side of your screen, Acuna, as he pulls off, that's when you need Robledo or Dejun to crash towards the goal mouth. Acuna occupies both center backs, so he opens up that passing lane. That's the next step in the progression for the attacking unit for this AV Alta side. How do you play off one another and unbalance opposing back lines?
Alasani, that's a bit out of his reach. Sidestepping Ortiz. Gonzalez. There's some Robledo. Dejun now. Now there's some room to operate off the right flank. Karam's back to Ortiz. Works the give and go. That's brilliant. Ortiz crossing. Angled by Acuna out over the line. That's the right idea from Alta.
Seem to be clicking. Ball circulation, quick movements, understanding how to change angles for each other. Good positioning here from Acuna yet again. Just a tad bit behind him, a really difficult technique to get your foot around that and redirect it on target.
Lancaster, California. Newest home to League One soccer. The second ever match, looking for their first win. And of course, as you'd anticipate, the first crack at the Open Cup for AV Alta against a Ventura County Fusion side that's had so many bright moments. 20th season in totality, 3 division titles, 2 national titles at the League 2 level. If you look through what is seemingly non-exhaustive list of star players to come through, it's been quite the proving ground. Good young American talent. Championship fans may think Rodrigo Lopez, Matt LaGrassa. MLS fans might be thinking Jossie Zardes, Abu Dunladi, Brian Rowe, Daniel Steris, to name a few.
Not a bad group whatsoever. Impressive.
Launched over the top, spear back to Aviles. Did you go the League 2 or the NPSL route in college at Creighton?
PDL.
PDL?
Yeah, I played with the Rowdies.
There you go.
A whole of 3 games, then got injured.
Loan gone wrong. So run through. Robledo continues to chase. Popped away by Drux.
Also not forget, Mike, for the AV Alta side, yes, it's their second game, their competitive game in the existence, but there is a little bit of rotation within the squad, so players are also playing for their jobs, playing for their places in lineups, trying to prove to their head coach that they deserve to be in the team sheet no matter what the competition is. So how do you approach this game with that mentality? And so far, they seem up to it. They seem hungry. Really high tempo this match has been played at.
Circulated back by Matthias Winham. To UC Irvine. Brian Claiborne grabbed that, and he spoke to us about some of the internships he had at Barcelona. He said, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. We copied a pretty successful formula, brought it to the U.S. This touch through, Dejeunes on the run. Relaford slowed him, didn't stop him. Rolled ahead and cranked off the tee.
Just so explosive, so direct, but I want you to notice the recovered run from Relaford. Bottom of your screen, number 2. You think this play is done, but he continues. He reads the pass already. And what that does, that closes down the space for a Cruz to get on the end of it, closes down, and helps the keeper to shield that near post. Good effort in the end from Cruz, but that extra effort from Relaford, fantastic.
Goal-preventing moment. Here's Matino. Relaford now joins into the attack. And jostling away at Alisani commits the foul. So often you chat with coaches about how they build rosters. Intriguingly enough, it was really foreign to domestic, the approach of this Alta team, as opposed to specific positions. Something's gone really wrong here. That is Wynnum down, and instantly a player for Alta waved on the medical staff. Yeah, tough to tell how exactly that came about, but the reaction was instantaneous. Wynnum, the 24-year-old Norwegian center back, came through UC Irvine over the last 4 years. Was a first-team all Big West selection. He formed Nardo prior to departing for the U.S. Now you hear the applause from the crowd. Hopefully that's a good sign. There he is at the bottom of your screen. Up and moving now. Shaking hands with the player that had called for that help in Acuna. So he waits for the referee's signal to return now. This ball will find its way through. Driving in and passing through the goalkeeper, Fofana. An equalizer for the Fusion. Abubakar Fofana out of nothing. Takes a direct ball over the top and rounds Aviles to equal it for the League Two side.
Not having success playing in between the lines, they just misjudge it. You talked about the win, Mike. Something that this back line needs to be very wary about. They get it all wrong, but give credit to Fofana. Composed as you would like, opens up his hips and simply just guides it into that far post. It's been a bright spot for Ventura County Fusion, and just like that, they draw this game even right before halftime.
Fofana came to the U.S. initially in high school to go in Indiana, eventually through JUCO into the D3 realm, ultimately finished his collegiate journey at UNC Charlotte. Only 2 goals in 14 games last year. He just scored one of the goals of his life against this professional side. And as good as AV Alta has been, they are now equal with Ventura County Fusion. Blanca started it, he wanted it back. Dejun unloads, screaming off of Meade Tatum. I think your first thought is, how in the world did Fofana have 4 defenders staring at him from the halfway line and stay on side? But the reality is no VAR in this event. This ball lobbed over the top. Could it be a go-ahead again? Heavy ricochet toward the line, bashing away. Acuna couldn't get it over the line. Instead, it steered out over the end line. Sebastian Cruz breaking through, and Acuna can't draw Alta ahead a second time.
This back line, Lazard doesn't do well with the first one, but that ball takes a wicked. Now let's give credit to Acuna and Meade Tatum. Brave to take on the contact. Center back doing just enough to throw off the striker to get the second goal for AV Alta. If you're Drugs, you need to go out and attack this ball. You cannot let it bounce inside your 6-yard box.
There have been some bounces, again, essentially new turf, that have been really awkward. And eventually the infill starts to settle, and I'm not saying it'll play like grass, but it'll play more consistently. Has not felt all that consistent in this, the first official game played on this surface.
First thing a coach tells you when you're either a goalkeeper or defender, you cannot allow the ball to bounce. Because how unpredictable it can be at sometimes. A heads-up play by Meade Tatum to do just enough to keep this thing at 1-1.
Drux set to send it away. His backup, by the way, Antonio Campos, Jorge's son, a great Mexican international. Campos family certainly suffering during the recent Los Angeles fires. And yet Campos desperate to be a part of the squad, be a part of this team. Been through all the turmoil. Wanted to make sure he was at practice nonetheless. One of the few ties of normalcy. Dejun goes down, he's frustrated. Martino's won it back. Engelberg plays it outside. Oh, what a ball that is. Gliding in behind, keeper's out, Drux made contact. That he pointed toward the end line, but clearly a penalty.
Great ball in from Alisani. Notice the movement. Dejun just needs to get there right before Drux, and he does. I think it's a trailing leg of Dejun that catches Drux. Really clever from the AV Alta player. Goes down, feels the contact, and wins a pen for his side.
Well, he gestured like a free kick,
Yeah,
but definitely a penalty. From the Kalanchi Soccer Academy through San Diego 1904 in Nisa, Northern Colorado, to a brief stint with Ventura County. He has already scored the first goal in AV Alta history, and now he'll try and sink the first penalty. Dejun against Drux. For the go-ahead shortly before halftime, Dejun scores right down the middle. Cue the lights. 2-0 AV Alta.
Been the best player for AV Alta through the first half here. Watch his left leg. Drux takes it out. Does he invite the contact? If he does, really clever. Equally as clever as the pen. Takes a little bit off of it to let Drux dive out of the way. Gets his brace in this first half. AV Alta seemed to be walking into halftime with a goal lead.
There's already, favorite. Yeah. Usually, when I hear Jerry chanted, I'm watching trash on television, but that is not the case here. It's Jerry Dejun, not Jerry Springer, that's getting the entire crowd chanting his name. A 2-goal first half. Alta shut out in their first match on the road at South Georgia Tormenta. Took the lead, saw Ventura County equalize at 42 minutes, and grabbed the penalty before halftime, 2-1.
They've been the better side. This AV Alta side, they've been dictating tempo. They've been playing at a very high pace. I do think if you're Brian Clement, you want to be a little bit more compact in the back. You cannot get beat that easy. And for Keith Costigan in Ventura County, play a little bit more direct. Put their back line on heels because they haven't dealt with direct balls extremely well.
So the 4th division side trailing the 3rd division side at halftime in this first round Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup match. At halftime, AV Alta 2, Ventura County Fusion 1. And we welcome you back to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup first round. AV Alta taking on Ventura County Fusion, 2-1 at halftime. Ricky, if you are Ventura County, I imagine you're saying, hey, we equalized with 5 minutes left in the half. We're not getting played off the park. We've been able to stay compact. We've made it largely difficult. And even if Alta looks like the pro side, the cup set is still within reach.
100%. We tied once. Why can't we tie it again? I do think you're going to see this side play a little bit more direct, because in that first half, the two center backs for AV Alta didn't seem really convinced on how to deal with balls over the top. I think you need to get Ceja Montinho on the ball a little bit more to ask some more questions. So if I'm Keith Costigan, compactness in my defensive structure and playing on the front foot and playing in my attacking third is going to be the name of the game. And for AV Alta, I think get on the ball, dictate tempo, play the speed that you want to play at. And if you can get that third goal, then you're setting yourself up for success.
We do welcome those of you watching on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page. Apparently everyone has figured out that Jenny, as the Killers once wrote in a song, was a friend of mine, ours. We hope you enjoy the matches tonight, tomorrow, Thursday. Available to everybody, the way the beautiful game should. And these two sides giving us something late into the night here to enjoy on the opening day of tournament proper here in 2025. With Ricky Lopez Espin, Mike Watts on hand, as AV Alta opens up their new digs. Just the second match day in their history, their first Open Cup game, taking on one of the amateur sides with the most history in this year's Open Cup, their 20th year in totality, a regular within the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And on to the second half we go tonight. Matthias Winham did come off at halftime, and Ronaldo Callan Lewis came off as well. Struggled to really get a hold in this game, unfortunately. Not a day for the forwards for Ventura County. That one chance for Fofana over the top. But Callan Lewis done for the day. Notably, Cal, the son of Eddie Lewis, former U.S. international. One worth watching, Keith Costigan told us this week. Luka Lukic was a real thorn in Ventura County's side in League Two play last year, comes in off the bench. Those will be the first two subs of this match. Collected here by Lamelli. Part of the Open Cup run for LA Force last year. Ball through. Engelbert, that's denied. Ceja. Relaford. Winding forward, circulates Lamelli. Will that check up? Lazar, a laser into the stands.
Notice now, Mike, that this Ventura County side stepping a little bit higher, more aggressive in their approach and trying to force turnovers higher up the field. And if you do that, that's fine, but you need to stay compact within your structure. So if Matinho goes, Ceja needs to go underneath him. Ledoux as well. You do not want gaps to open up, because we've seen how comfortable AV Alta is in between playing lines, how comfortable they are on the ball, and they can break you down.
Got a grip on it for the time being. Ventura County is starting to push a little bit more in their pressure, looking to disrupt. And this will slide through. Hands with Blancas. Tees. Ortiz works the give and go with Cruz. Got hip checked. Cruz is still there. Advantage played. Cruz crossing, settled, deflected from Acuna. And skitters to the edge of the penalty area. And Drux will dribble and drive away. Into the width. Offered in front of goal for Lukic. Played against Ventura County with Redlands in League 2. Good hold-up play. Keith Costigan says he's definitely got a gear that'll get him to the next level in him. Melly. Tino. Tees intervenes. I thought one thing that stood out in speaking with Keith, some of these guys for Ventura County, Lukic being one of them, first time they're wearing the jersey. That's sort of the nature of a lot of these League 2 teams trying to scrap a team together for these March and April windows as far as they go. Free kick and the frustration evident from Miguel Pajaro. And some of these academy guys that have been with the club, guys that were a part of League 2 last year, maybe graduated from school, eligible to play, those guys are going to carry on what it means to play for the badge and allow that to help dictate the emotion and the energy they play with. Ledoux will put it in play. Pops this over the back line, chested down, touched away from Lazar. Still it's on here, curled across.
Quick touch.
Acuna.
He's been impressive.
Cruz wants it through. There he goes. Motoring in behind. And he scores! Sebastian Cruz!
They've shown they can hurt you in numerous of ways, whether it is playing in between the lines, but just playing transitional football. Talk about a touch from Acuna. And then Robledo. Notice bottom of your screen how well Cruz holds his run. As he backtracks, that gives him the ability to stay with the last man. That touch gets away with him. That's just enough to beat the oncoming defender and the goalkeeper. Fantastic football from AV Alta to get their third right after the break.
And suddenly, dangerous times for Ventura County Fusion. Cruz in the 52nd, Dejeune in the 28th, and in first half stoppage time from the spot. And AV Alta 2 goals ahead, looking for the first win in club history. You mentioned it, and I'm glad you did. Joaquin Acuna again. Brilliant work. Cruz slips ahead. Is there another one here? Not yet. Nearly repaid the favor. Acuna from Cruz, that deflects out for a corner.
I've only seen him play for 54 minutes, but you can just kind of get a feel of what type of player he is. Ruthless in and around that 18-yard box, selfless that he can bring players in, tenacious that he wants to get on the end of things, and his work rate is never in question. Soft feet for number 9 as well. Seems to be a real luxury to have for AV Alta and a nightmare to defend against.
floated across. Kept alive by Robledo. That's really good work. Queens, New York native who spent the early days of his career in Cincinnati. Ball floated up and snagged by Drux. Day one of the Open Cup, and thus far the pro teams have had all the fun. No cup sets to speak of yet. You and I called it earlier. Hartford over New York Shockers 3-0. All three in the front line. Bagging goals for Hartford Athletic tonight. They had 80% of the ball in that game. FC Naples outlasting Sarasota. That was scoreless well into the second half. And Naples through to face Hartford in the second round. Opening days of April. Miami FC, a 4-1 dominant performance over Naples United, which is an NPSL side, as opposed to FC Naples, the League One side. We did get penalties, but it did see a League One team through. This deflected en route from Ventura County, hangs in the air, header away, work to be done. Ledoux brought it down. Chattanooga Red Wolves getting by New Jersey Alliance, who did lead in that game. Another League One debutant, Westchester SC, knocking out famed Motown. See, Motown has historically done a really good job putting together super competitive rosters. Greenville Triumph, dare I say, advance on penalties. Westchester United gave Loudon all they could handle. They led that game, but Loudon 3 unanswered, a 3-2 victory. They'll see either Floro of the UPSL or Texoma, another League One expansion team in the next round. Westchester and Greenville will match up, a couple of League One teams. Miami FC is already on upset alert against Chattanooga Red Wolves, I can tell you that. Floro game has concluded now in extra time. Ball lobbed in, awkward deflection. Comes out to Lamelli. Header steered down and driven away by Pajaro, 24-year-old Colombian captain. Held up at the halfway line, and they will blow the whistle. It is a free kick. Meanwhile, the Tulsa derby. FC Tulsa survived. Tulsa Athletic, they had to play that game, quote unquote, on the road. Spencer is now 3-0 as a head coach, which of course doesn't take into account his time leading the triumvirate at Louisville City. 3 players that for a time had to lead that club. Ultimately, John Hackworth came in, got the glory of the title in the end. And then one other game ongoing. The artist formerly known as LA Galaxy 2, 2 goals ahead of Laguna United, Ventura County FC. 2-0 at 55 minutes. That also available for the 2 screening types on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page. Here's Dejeun. Flipped ahead, brought down, played across. Acuna, Robledo. Will he just have a go at this? Oh, skittering around and now laced it frame by Blancas. And now cranked off the woodwork, but the whistle had gone for offside. Acuna tattooed select right on that bar.
But it's a lack of defending, lack of initiative for Ventura County. Notice how Blancas just has acres of time on this. Beats 2 players. And as Acuna's about a yard offside. Watch the technical ability as well. Twisting and turning, right foot, left foot, no problem whatsoever. It's going to be frustrating for Keith Costigan with his 2 center backs. Beats Tatum and Lamelli now unable to really put in a challenge and close down space. Connor Motino came out at that last stop for Ventura County Fusion.
Number 9 replaced by Omar Yaya, one of Kyle Beckerman's boys at Utah Valley. A couple years there, 16 goals. And there is Tyler Freeman set to enter. What a winding road it's been for him, from a Kansas City Academy player, signed as a homegrown after dominating the under-17 ranks, played with Kansas City 2, and since then Loudoun, Nashville, Huntsville City, Birmingham, Hartford, and Carolina Core. Championship, ex-pro, on MLS payrolls as well, and still remarkably only 22.
Impressive. Remember, I had a chat with former manager Brian Martin at Loudoun United. He said he is the most talented player I've ever coached.
Wow.
That was an eyebrow when I heard that. You can see quality is never a question. I know he's dealt with some injuries. But what an opportunity it is for Tyler Freeman to make his mark here. Play against a very talented AV Alta side.
Well, it's been an extraordinarily busy day for writers covering Open Cup related teams, I guess would be a way to put it. Tom Bogert made mention Matt Hedges with Des Moines Menace, saying, I'm not retired, I want to play, and this is a chance for him to showcase again, the former MLS Defender of the Year, but same can be said for guys like Tyler Freeman.
100%.
And at 22, there are lotto tickets worth trying to grab a hold of, and Freeman could be one of them. You'll see in this Open Cup this year.
As a player, all you can ask for is a chance, is an opportunity to play against a team at a higher level, especially with a new team like that's a ball. Like a new team like AV Alta that I got the feeling, talking to Brian Kleben, that they're motivated to sign players. They're continuing trying to build their roster, bring in talent from wherever they can. Tyler Freeman, if he can showcase his talent, no brainer in my mind with team picking him up.
There's Yaya off the outside of the netting. Winner of this game will in fact see FC Tulsa in the next round. The draw has already been made for round 2. The next draw will be in round 3. When USL Championships remaining 16 clubs enter. Then round 4, it'll be the 16 MLS teams taking part in this year's competition.
You start to see the heavy legs and the fitness. The biggest difference between these two teams. I mentioned it earlier, Mike, Ventura County only having one training session ahead of this match versus AV Alta already playing one competitive match in 6 weeks of preseason. So as legs get heavy, mistakes start to happen a little bit more frequently. How do you capitalize on them?
Ball driven in over the top. Cruz rolls this across the face of goal, out of the reach of Acuna. Hasn't been all that far away from 4, 5, 6 goals. 2 great saves in the opening minutes. Dorian Brooks. Handful of these nearly moments in front of goal. Couple changes coming here. Manuel Alaribe coming in. Spent last few years split between the Moldovan second division and the Israeli second division. End of the night for Joaquin Acuna. Jimmy Villalobos coming in. Spent last year at Forward Madison. The year prior to that, Knoxville. And plenty of applause as Gustavo Villalobos comes in as well. Think about 16 in white on the right side of your screen for a moment. 33 years old. In this area, he's played with Golden State, Cal United, LA Force, Orange County. Spent time in Tulsa, was overseas in Sweden and Malta. He's from the area. Almost a professional career that never happened. 4 leg breaks before the age of 20. Wow. And still managed to come out of Cal State Northridge, including a spell of 15 months off the field, and turn in a lengthy pro career, and one that's continued in the Open Cup here with an amateur side.
Incredible. 4 times. 4. You're lucky to come back from 1. Hats off to Villalobos. It's mental fortitude, mental toughness right there.
Now it's worth noting there was an apparent head injury in the first half. This ball bouncing across the face of the 18-yard box. Matthias Winham went down. Was able to come back into the game. However, if concussion symptoms did appear during halftime, you could use a concussion substitute still. It doesn't have to be made in that exact moment if symptoms appear later. So while 5 subs have been made for Ventura County, they may have a 6th, although we don't have access to whether or not the off-color card was handed to the official. Something to keep in mind is only Tony Lopez remains available as a field player on the bench. They've used Lukic, Villalobos, Yaya Lamelli, and Freeman. Ball flung over the top. Carl held on to it. Offers it right to Drux. If you get one here, all of a sudden put a lot of pressure on Alta on home ground for the first time to see this out, and that is a lot easier said than done.
If I'm Keith Gottingen, I'm just telling my boys to play direct. Get the ball as far away from our goal as possible.
Ortiz. The angle was tight. Had to thread a needle here to have a chance.
I have 2 options here if you're Ortiz. I love the aggressive nature. No one steps up. So you can either go low and hard to that far post, or you try to go high to that near post. But yet again, Drux does just enough to close down that angle and not give Ortiz any sort of space to squeeze it in. The wide areas of the field for AV Alta have become wide open. It seems as Ventura County Fusion has shifted into a 3-back system.
Side may not be all that familiar together, but Keith Koskinen said, you know, I do view myself as a tactical coach, but you're doing the best best you can with the time that you have. No. Floated over toward Yaya. That will run past Aviles. He'll pick it up. I think he said the start of training would be, how do you do? Nice to meet you, essentially.
Icebreaker. Fun fact about you.
Do you have one? I feel like you've had to do that probably one too many times.
True.
Goes in over the top. Lejeune knocked off the ball. Still, it's Salaribe. MLS Media Connection. Practically the entire MLS 360 crew from Apple TV is playing on Wednesday night with Des Moines Menace. Dax McCarty, Sasha Kleshtian, Bradley Wright Phillips. Plenty of other big names involved in that game. Little turn here, and gliding through, finally cleared off the penalty spot. Fofana, a lone goal scorer for Ventura County, hard at work. Double sub is upcoming for Alta in a moment, including Lancaster, California native Miguel Ibarra. Freeman plays it out over the line. What a moment this is for Miguel Ibarra. When you speak to the coaching staff for AV Alta, they describe the perfect player to begin a franchise in Lancaster with. A chance to come home, the end of what's been a remarkable career, one that went through UC Irvine to the NASL at Minnesota United, ultimately into MLS. Time at León in Mexico, through Seattle and San Diego, Charlotte the last couple of years. This curling above the bar. Ibarra, capped 3 times for the U.S. national team, was one of those extraordinarily rare players to come out of the lower divisions and into the senior national team in the United States while still playing in those lower divisions. Miguel Ibarra, at the age of 34, gets to come home and play in front of his family. You can tell how much that means to him.
Leadership, quality, that's what could move here.
Lukic, AR said that stayed in. Ultimately, Lukic commits the foul anyways. Back to Ibarra.
This is a quality player that you're going to bring in. Obviously, speaking with the front office of AV Alta, exactly what they wanted. A homegrown talent, knows what it takes to earn everything in your career. A leader, a winner. So look for him to be a massive piece, not only in this US Open Cup, but League One. That's the type of professional that you can learn from if you're a young player as well.
Coach Clement telling us, here's this guy he knew back to UC Irvine, drafted to Portland, rejected, goes to the NASL. He said he's making nothing financially, but he just keeps pursuing chance to ultimately go full circle in Minnesota from the NASL and into MLS ultimately. Then they got to work sorting out the rest once they knew that they had that piece locked down. Sani, here is Ibarra. Ball over the top. This could be a dagger. Tackled from behind. It is a penalty. The second earned by Alta in this game. And Dejeun won it. And if he takes it, he could go for a hat trick.
Great pick out over the top from Alisani. Left side of your screen. The line for Ventura County all over the place. Clear foul. Reynolford comes over the back of Dejeun. He goes down. Well, that's a risky run when you switch into a three-back system for Ventura County Fusion. As one center back steps, the other two need to provide some coverage underneath or stay in line. None of that happens. Now you see your second pen within the 76 minutes of this match.
Dejeun on the first penalty on the other end in front of the supporters standing section. Went slightly right of center, but top of shin or knee height. Drux will have a second chance, and welcome to Armchair Psychology 101. Dejeun to put the exclamation point on. Drux knocks it aside. Keeps Ventura County's pulse, faint as it may be, alive. Corner.
Big time save here from Drux. Notice how he pushes off his right foot, full extension to send him left. Like you said, Mike, the mind games, and he comes out on top.
Dejeun bobbled, and Drux dives on the grenade. Well, there's no guarantee that a comeback lies in store, but felt all but guaranteed if that hit the net that this one would be all but over.
See what kind of energy that impacts for Ventura County. 14 plus remaining here. Takes one goal. Put some more pressure on AV Alta. If I'm Keith Costigan, I'm telling my boys to play direct. Put this back line on their heels, and any set piece, take our time, get our bodies forward, and just cause a little bit of chaos in our attacking 18-yard box. Bad giveaway.
And off the hook. Another bad giveaway, isn't it? Alasani couldn't quite play through Alaribe. This is acres of space relative to what Ventura County's seen. Yeah, crossfield. Muscled off the ball. That's great work. Advantage played. Diagonal run, Alaribe. Got behind Ortiz. He has to let this go. So Fofana continues.
Should have called Brought it back.
Something.
Yeah. He's clearly trying to pull down Bafana.
Meanwhile, an injured player on the opposite side here for Alta, and they do have one sub remaining. And as they attend to the injured player, how about we show you what Dorian Drux has been up to in this game from the early minutes.
Yeah, he's been massive. And he's been a bright spot for this Ventura County Fusion side. Yes, he's conceded 3 goals. Couldn't do much about those goals, but he's been fantastic with his positioning, flawless with his athleticism, commanding his 6-yard box. No save bigger than that one. And he's been one of, if not the best player for the amateur side tonight.
Very possible we'll get just one cup set here tonight, and it would be the Floro Texoma game in Texas. Ryan Padilla, 99th minute extra time winner for the UPSL team. Yeah, there's the appeal that there's going to have to be a change. Unfortunate outcome here for AV Alta. Livanov is the likely defending option if they decide to go that route. You can see Eric Gonzalez making his way off the field. How about we get you caught up on the full scoreboard here tonight. Round 1 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Naples getting by Sarasota, the League One team making their debut in this tournament. Hartford not shocked by New York in the least. Miami a 4-1 win out of the championship. Chattanooga Red Wolves from League One able to survive in penalties. These some of the later games. Loudoun United got all they could handle from West. Chester United, FC Tulsa, a late winner against Tulsa Athletic. Final 10 minutes. And Ventura County has opened up a whole can on Laguna United. It is 6-0 now in favor of the MLS Next Pro side. Osvaldo Ley has come on, the final sub for AV Alta, and replaces Eric Gonzalez. Back of Alasani. Gonzalez has just rounded the field and gotten to the bench. Receives proper applause. Reno native. Whistle against Ortiz. How quickly do you want to move? That, it turns out, is demonstrably too quick.
Moments like that, we need to get your big bodies forward.
Dropped that ball in Los Angeles. And another injury here for Alta. And here's where things could start to get a little bit hinky.
Bit awkward. Looks like it was Master Antonio. He's okay to continue on. Not what you want if you are AV Alta.
Well, he'll have to soldier on, or Alta will have to play down to 10. Plenty of matchups to keep an eye on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page for the next 2 days. And as he makes his way off, we take a look at the first round schedule tomorrow. Richmond Kickers and Virginia Dream among the key 7 o'clock matches. Inter Miami 2 against Miami United. No Messi necessary. SKC 2, Des Moines Menace. Benny Feilhaber is taking on his former team that he coached and, of course, played for, Kansas City. Meanwhile, back to action here. Victor Ulloa is playing for that Des Moines Menace team.
Team is stacked. I saw on
AJ De La Garza.
I saw on X. DeMarcus Beasley tweeted at Des Moines Menace, seeing if they had an extra locker that he can sign up in.
Ricky, Twitter's fine. Just
Twitter.
say Twitter. It's fine. Their tweets too.
Their tweets.
Yep. And Ozzy Alonso is in this tournament, but not playing for Spokane, the club with which he has a minority ownership stake. Wild stuff.
Just so many storylines.
Oh my gosh.
If you pick an upset, or cup set, excuse me.
I would pick them in a cup set, Des Moines, if they played in a TST style format. That's a 100%, big field.
Yeah.
It's a big field. Last year, it felt like for every Sasha Kleshin that went the 90, a couple guys weren't quite up to that measure anymore. It's like a 60% retired roster now. We shall see.
It's a form is temporary, class is permanent. You heard that?
And that is true. However,
yeah,
these kids are prepared to run a marathon tomorrow if that's what it takes from Kansas City too. It'll be a fun match, no doubt about it.
I think one that maybe people are sleeping on is Miami United versus Inter 2.
Yeah, Miami United's not a pushover.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
And they played against Miami FC in preseason and beat them. So that Miami United side.
That's the Miami FC as opposed
the
to
Miami FC, yeah, the Miami FC.
The championship side. Well, aside from the championship. Sebastian Blanco playing for that group now.
Lucas Milano as well.
Yep.
Bill Hamid.
Yeah, that gets away. Mentioned Virginia playing in this event. Hamid played in qualifying for them, but eligible to play for Miami FC in tournament proper, an alteration of the rule. You can qualify with a team and then play in the proper tournament with another, as opposed to a typical cup tying scenario. Talk about all the big names, but that is something that Ventura County Fusion certainly eschewed. They had no interest in making headlines beyond trying to give these players the brightest spotlight possible on this night. And that shouldn't go unnoticed. Trotting in here is Yaya, comes back outside to Lamelli. Came on at halftime. Freeman now. Lamelli into the path of Aviles, and the time is slipping through the hourglass a bit too quickly now for Ventura County. Excited to to see Portland Hearts of Pine. All mixed up.
They have nice uniforms.
They do. This lifted above the bar, and as tantalizing a chance as they've had in some time. When you get McDreamy modeling your uniform,
You're doing something right.
I think so. I'll say I am. And I'll also say Ballard and Spokane has problem written all over it. El Farolito going to Real Monarchs has problem written all over it for the pros. That El Farolito team is amateur in name only. That is a really good team last year. Three added minutes here. Lamelli. Does Dejeun have another 60 yards of running in him? Doesn't seem like it. Lest we forget, Alta has the unfortunate happenstance of playing in the state of Georgia last weekend and then Richmond, Virginia this coming weekend, and coming home in the middle to play this match. Knox suffered here late, and that is Cerritos being helped up. This venue may have been called the Hangar, but there's no private jet in the back.
Where's yours parked?
If only. It's because I mentioned your car earlier, right?
I knew that was coming.
Runs all the way down, and Aviles holds on to it, and time being what it is, it's probably run out here for the Fusion. They give a good account of themselves. They equalized late in the first half, concede a penalty right before halftime. AV Alta appear poised to finish the job here, advance in their first ever Open Cup game. I'd want to see Cruz again, Acuna again, Dejeun again if I were a fan paying for a ticket the first time. Fofana had some fun moments. Relaford showed a lot of grit, determination. Here's Dejeun. You can smell a hat trick. Dejeun turns on the afterburners. That is deflected into the air and ultimately down to the goalkeeper, Drux. And the final whistle arrives. AV Alta in their first ever home game, their first ever Open Cup game. A 3-1 victory over Ventura County Fusion.
Convincing professional from AV Alta. Stay true to their identity, their culture, what they're trying to build here. Make this place a fortress. Quick on the ball, clean on the ball, and in the end, just a bit too much quality and too much fitness for Ventura County. And the USL League One side advances into the next round.
Jerry Dejeun, the first and second goal in club history. And ultimately the winner from the spot right before halftime. May we offer you these highlights in these trying times. AV Alta trying to navigate through Joaquin Acuna. Ultimately, a couple really good saves from Drux in this first half, but no stopping that.
Starts with the hold-up play from Acuna. The strength, but this Ventura County side says not so quick. Ball over the top, not dealt with nearly well enough. Fofana says, thank you very much. Let me just open up my hips and simply guide it in. And you thought it was going to be a game. The June was out around everything. Just so versatile, so quick. Cool as you would like. Drux times out of the way, gets his brace in the first half.
And then it's a chance to see this Alta team spread its wings.
Starts with the hold-up play of Acuna. The play in from Robledo. And that's a really good goal from Cruz. The movement before he receives the ball to keep himself onside is everything. And the June yet again getting in behind. Redleford comes in a bit late. And Drux, full extension to not let another goal hit the back of his net. A little too late as AV Alta take the win.
Well, if you thought this commentary was thrilling, come on back tomorrow and you'll get Ricky and I all over again in separate booths. Take a look at the schedule. I'll go ahead and circle Kansas City and Des Moines. That's not a tough one. I think Miami has you licking your chops.
I think that's the one that 7:30 window is going to be really interesting. Appalachian FC and One Knox is an interesting one as well. Appalachian FC, quite the atmosphere they have built there.
Meanwhile, the late games tomorrow night, all available on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page. El Paso just played a 4-4 barn burner. We'll see if they've got any legs left. El Farolito will try and envelop Real Monarchs. And Ballard and Spokane, I think, will probably have some legs to it, too.
You need to circle that one. Ballard and Spokane played in a fantastic match last season. Spokane ultimately comes on top with the winner late. Let's see what Ballard FC is able to do. Circle that one at 10:30 Eastern.
Well, that is all the promotion we'll do tonight as we relegate ourselves to bed after a lengthy opening day of Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup action. For Ricky Lopez-Espin and our entire team in Lancaster and beyond, and those who brought you the matches all night, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. It finishes AV Alta 3, Ventura County Fusion 1. Alta, their first ever win. Congratulations and good night.